Crime prevention specialists tell me they're seeing potential criminals approach a doorstep, notice they're on camera, and taking off. Shear says life jackets just like this one would have prevented every single river-related death in our area over the last few years. That's why he says it's important you're wearing one every time you get in. You heard her recommend flashlights and glow sticks, but there's also this nifty reflective tape I found at Hobby Lobby. They told me visibility is key. The owners say they don't know what the vandals were after. Instead of taking valuables like iPads or alcohol, they just made a mess. Now, if you look over my shoulder here, you're going to see a huge swath of land. It looks like dirt, but yesterday it was flammable vegetation. Thanks, Scott. I hope you and Ileana are enjoying the nice air-conditioned studio back there. Out here, it is ridiculously hot, and while that water behind me looks very cold, very refreshing, it could also be very deadly if I don't take the proper safety precautions. She says for some, relief is as easy as pressing a button. Boxes like this use a full spectrum of light, tricking the body out of hibernation. The fire moved through here really fast last night, and that is why firefighters tell me while they would like to help us protect our stuff, we need to help them by making it easier to protect. The Meals on Wheels team has spent hours scraping paint off of windows and getting the gross smell out of the van, but they say when all is said and done, it's worth it. Benton REA is already out here trying to make sure the house gets its power back on. Now, this is a house the family says they're grateful is still standing. Instead of making the sale somewhere familiar but poorly lit, like a school, pick somewhere on camera and well lit, like this safe zone at the Pasco Police Department. Take a look at this. This is what the 13-year-old teenager and his passenger walked away from this morning. I'll take a step out here so you can check it out. Now, the owner is still too shaken up to talk, but his neighbor talked to us, and she said it's a miracle no one was killed.
Just random chance. Look at that. That one's gone. That one behind, they saved it. This one could have been gone, but...
Peter Ward says he and his girlfriend's family had only minutes to decide what to save as a fast-moving wildfire raced down the hill toward the house.
Yeah, we got 2 cats out, 2 dogs out, 2 kids out. I saw the smoke coming, we just got up fast.
He says they were outside when they first noticed something wrong. Only minutes later, flames devoured the dry hill behind the house. Once the family rushed out of harm's way, he says he came back to try and save what he could.
Oh, there's fires running back there. I just put those out from behind.
Across the street, neighbor Jim Anderson returned home for a second time.
I'm going to grab some important papers.
Just hours before, he and his wife were happy to be home, unloading after a camping trip.
I smelled smoke, and I told her, but I didn't see any flames. And I saw it coming over the hill, and she called 911. And
he says he could only watch as their neighbor's home burst into flames. It was one of the several homes that burned in the Canyon Lakes neighborhood today. Ward marveled at how quickly the day changed course, but was glad his loved ones moved so quickly at a time it mattered most.
Got everybody piled the cars, just sort of got the passports, got everything we needed, got some water, got the dogs, got the cats, and got out.
There's just so many variations of the calls we can get out here with the recreation we have on the Columbia River, the Snake River, the Yakima River, and there's people on the river, 365 days a year.
Pasco's rescue boat averages between 1 to 6 emergency calls each week. Rescuer Dan Sullivan says it's hard to predict what the next rescue will be, so they're prepping for all of them. Practicing now so they can react later.
Basically every scenario we can think of that would happen around here, the more we can get out here and train, the more ready we are for those situations if they come up.
Situations like this one. Maneuvering the boat next to but not on top of somebody conscious and floating in the water. Important to perfect, but devastatingly rare. That's why they're also using underwater cameras, simulating the search for a submerged body.
Where they hit the shore or hit each other, things fly around, and if you end up in the water unconscious, then there's no way to keep your head out of that water.
Shear says life jackets just like this one would have prevented every single river-related death in our area over the last few years. That's why he says it's important you're wearing one every time you get in.
People don't get injured and they don't need to be rescued. They float, and friends pick them up.
You don't have to go on a whole bunch of drownings. You only have to go on one and save them to really make a huge difference.
Every mom I know wants to know what's happening with their kids at school. They're there for most of their day.
Concerned parents alerted Action News to reports of bed bugs at Richland's Jefferson Elementary.
Ew, I've been feeling itchy ever since I found out. I want our house not to have that problem. It can also become very, very expensive.
Kogan and other unhappy mothers say they've tried contacting school leaders, but she claims they never heard back. Instead of waiting, she's using heat to kill any possible bed bugs on her kids' clothing.
So when my kids get home from school today, their backpacks, coats, everything that I can will go into the dryer.
She says a simple heads up would have been nice.
And because they were not forthcoming with it, now they have hysterical parents that are acting out of fear. Instead of acting from a place of collaboration and coordination, now they've got angry parents.
We dropped in on Richland schools,
There's really not much more I can say at this time, so that's pretty much the limit of what I can say.
but they told us they can't comment on specifics in order to protect children's privacy. After our visit, the district sent parents this letter. We want to update you on a recent report of bed bugs at Jefferson Elementary. We are working with everyone involved to resolve this concern, have connected them with community resources, and will continue to help them. District Liaison Ty Beaver told Action News the bed bugs were found in a particular area of Jefferson Elementary, not throughout the entire building. Officials explain this is not an infestation and the bugs are likely being brought in from another source. Richland Education Association says schools regularly spray for pests, including bed bugs.
Our job is to parent. We're the parents, and we are responsible for making sure that they're cared for and that they're protected. And we cannot do our jobs if we are left in the dark and we're not informed.